This is a Orico enclosure that is going to provide you 5 gigabit per second transmission speed. So for this enclosure, you can have 2.5 or 3.5 HDD or SSD. And for this one, you can get up to 44 terabyte of memory on this single enclosure. That's the maximum. And you have USB Type-C. So here is the enclosure, Orico. So these are the light indicators. And on the back here, you have the power button, the USB-C, and the 12-volt DC power. I can remove this. This is going to be the 3.5 HDD. This also the same. And on the inside, you have the interface where you have to plug the SSD or HDD, where the connector is going to go. So you're going to use this small cage in order to attach the HDD or the SSD. So the screws that they provided are primarily for the 3.5 HDDs and not the SSDs. They are a little bit too big for regular SSDs. So I'm using the screws that I had previously for one of my SSDs. So once I get a 3.5 HDD, I can use the big screws that they provided for that. So on this one, I added one screw here and the other one here. It is sufficient to hold the SSD in place. And it is like this. If it was a 3.5, it will fill the whole area. Correct orientation and then push it inside. Let's do the installation for the second SSD. This is my Samsung 870 EVO 1 terabyte. The Samsung SSD is fully attached. So I just need to install it inside the enclosure. And you press, it is completely inserted and installed. Everything is ready for the first test of this Orico enclosure. 12-volt DC. The USB-C cable that was provided with the adapter USB-A to USB-C. So I currently have USB-C on all my devices. So I'll just insert this here. So for this one, there is a power button, and you will see the disk, the power, and the second disk. So let me test with a MacBook and see if I can see all the SSDs with this enclosure. So here are all the SSDs. 1 terabyte, 870 EVO, and I have this one 512 Pro SSD, the 850 Pro SSD from Samsung. This enclosure is a 5 gigabyte per second enclosure, so the maximum that you can get here might be around 500 megabyte per second reading and writing. So by getting around 300 megabyte per second reading and writing, this is already very efficient.